Welcome in to a Friday edition of the Ravens Rundown by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. Coming up on today's show, we are talking about Jadeveon Clowney. Also, a cryptic tweet from J.K. Dobbins leaves questions about his future in Baltimore. What does that running back position look like for the Ravens? We'll dive into all of that and more coming up in just a matter of moments. Before we do, Ravens fans, want you to subscribe to the channel as we're bringing you daily coverage here with the latest happenings on your favorite team with news and rumors, and we're also covering the updates of when news breaks. We bring you a video as quickly as we can here on the channel. We do our live shows from time to time, watch parties on some of the marquee games for your Baltimore Ravens. If you're a diehard Ravens fan, this is the channel for you. Subscribe now for free. Turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. We'll get started with today's show. ESPN has named Baltimore as the best fit for edge rusher Jadeveon Clowney. Clowney still remains available in NFL free agency to this point. The Ravens, although they don't have a ton of money to spend, still are looking to tighten up that roster a little bit just to make it a little bit better before the season begins, and Jadeveon Clowney could potentially fill that role for this Ravens team. Here's more from ESPN's Matt Bowen on the possibility. Clowney is a straight-line power rusher who can set a hard edge versus the run game, and he would fit in coordinator Mike Macdonald's defensive scheme in Baltimore. Yes, his production declined in Cleveland last season. He had just 2 sacks, but the 30-year-old can still create disruption in both the run and pass game. Clowney can play off the edge or line inside as a stand-up defensive tackle in the Ravens' multiple fronts. Baltimore turned over its front 7, and I see a part-time role for Clowney there. I think Jadeveon Clowney still has something left to offer. I think that you're looking at a guy that could be a good fit for the Baltimore Ravens. Personally, I'd rather bring Justin Houston back. Houston coming off a season where he had 9+ sacks. I think he makes more sense than Clowney does. The money is probably similar between the two. But if you do end up signing Clowney, I wouldn't be complaining about it at all. I think that he would be a good fit for what the Ravens are looking for and still has something that he can bring to the table at this point. We mentioned that last year was a down year for Clowney. In 12 games played, he had just 2 sacks with 4 tackles for loss and 1 forced fumble. But you go back to 2021, he was really solid in 14 games played with 37 tackles, 9 sacks, and 11 tackles for loss and 2 forced fumbles. So if you're bringing in Clowney, you're hoping that you get the Jadeveon Clowney we saw back in 2021. A lot of talent for Jadeveon Clowney. He's a guy that has been talked about for a long time, dating back to his days when he was coming out of the University of South Carolina. We all remember the infamous play that he had against Michigan in the Outback Bowl several years ago. He's played for several teams now. Started with the Texans, went to Seattle, Tennessee, and Cleveland, and his career has included a second-team All-Pro selection back in 2016 and 3 straight Pro Bowls from 2016 to 2018. So now is your chance to weigh in here on the Ravens Rundown. Should the Ravens sign Jadeveon Clowney or not? What do you think? This is our pinned comment today. You might get an ad break. If so, take advantage of it and get your votes in. Tell me what you think. Y for yes, in for no. Should the Ravens sign Jadeveon Clowney or not? Tell me what you think. Y for yes or in for no. So yesterday there was a cryptic tweet from J.K. Dobbins questioning his future potentially with the organization. And I got to tell you, I was caught off guard by this because when we've talked about the Ravens and the running back position of whether it's to add another running back or potential moves they've made, I have not even considered, given thought to the idea of moving on from J.K. Dobbins. He was, without question, the best running back on this Ravens roster last year and had a strong finish to 2022. But with that said, J.K. put this out on social media yesterday afternoon saying, Baltimore, Ravens flock, I hope I'm here till the end of my career. I love you. Well, that sounds nice. But then he followed that up and said, I don't know, though, sadly. Strange, right? Why? Why is this conversation being had? Does J.K. Dobbins know something that we don't, or are we possibly reading too much into this? I don't know. It just seemed very strange, very odd. from J.K. Dobbins. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't be back with the Baltimore Ravens this year of the momentum that he had towards the end of 2022. The best running back on this roster, no question about it. Why would he not be there? Maybe J.K.'s in his feels and, thinking about Baltimore and thinking about the future, whatever it may be. But this seems very strange, right? Why are we talking about this conversation right now in the middle of June of these cryptic messages from J.K. Dobbins? Are the Ravens ultimately going to move on from him? Does he know something we don't? It's interesting. We'll dissect this position here in just a moment, show you some numbers and where the running back group stands for Baltimore here in just a second. But first, your chance to chime in here on Ravens Rundown. Should the Ravens keep J.K. Dobbins or not? What do you think? Type C for cut, type K for keep. Is it time to move on from J.K. Dobbins? Does he know something that we don't? Tell us what you think in the comment section. C for cut, K for keep. Folks, we are on track to reach 10,000 subscribers here on the channel, but we need your help to get there. We are about 311 away from doing so. The more we grow this channel, the more content we can continue to bring you here on the Ravens Rundown. Subscribe for free today. Turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. Let's get to 10,000 subscribers together. I believe we can get there. Subscribe now for free, youtube.com/RavensTV. So here's the numbers from the Ravens backfield in 2022. Lamar Jackson, the leading rusher, with 112 carries for 764 yards, 6.8 yards per carry, and 3 touchdowns. But J.K. Dobbins, when he came back in the second part of the year, after he sat out a bit to kind of make sure things were corrected and okay from the previous injury he had, he was a spark for this Ravens offense. Much needed, what the Ravens offense had been looking for in the run game for quite some time, and he finished out the year really solid with close to 6 yards per carry, 520 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Kenyon Drake's not there anymore. Gus Edwards is back. Justice Hill is still around. And you look at that running back room, sure, you could make the case that the Ravens might need to add another runner potentially, and I think we're all kind of waiting to see what Keaton Mitchell, the undrafted free agent from East Carolina, brings to the table, if he's going to compete to get potentially some of those touches and some of those carries there. But with that said, when you factor in some of the free agent running backs that are out there, whether it's Ezekiel Elliott, Leonard Fournette, Kareem Hunt, J.D. McKissick, Mark Ingram, some of these guys that are out there, the best that are left at this point. Let's say that you sign one of those guys. Take example, let's say Kareem Hunt. There's no reason why that they would need to move on from J.K. Dobbins to bring one of those guys in. I could understand if you said, hey, we're going to cut Gus Edwards or Justice Hill or somebody like that to bring in one of those running backs, but J.K. Dobbins just doesn't make any sense as far as I'm concerned to move on from. Now, the best of this group at that point is probably Kareem Hunt, but he's got his own issues. Ezekiel Elliott's lost a step, but he could be a good power runner. I'm not opposed to signing another running back to bring into this running back room and see where things are. I think you also are still dependent on how far along Keaton Mitchell comes over these next few weeks and when you head into training camp. But what I am opposed to is the idea of removing on from J.K. Dobbins. You can go get another running back. That's fine if that's your prerogative, if that's something you want to do. But at the expense of moving on from J.K. Dobbins, that just doesn't make any sense to me at all. So maybe we're reading into it too much. That's certainly possible. But I don't see any reason why you need to move on from J.K. as far as I'm concerned. Name a running back the Ravens should add. We showed you a few names there. Is there somebody else that we didn't talk about that you'd like to see the Ravens potentially add? Let us know in the comment section a running back for the Baltimore Ravens that you'd like to see them ultimately pick up and add to that running back room there in Baltimore. We've seen over the last couple of years that those running backs have dealt with certainly a number of injuries. And that you need the more the merrier, right? Got to have plenty of options there as far as that goes. We'll see what the Ravens do. Hit me up on social media. Going to be enjoying the weekend here as we continue on with the Summer of Jones. I'll be on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Tyler Jones Live. Enjoying the summer. Also talking Ravens football. Had a great weekend in Baltimore last week. Checking out the Ray Lewis statue and going over to Camden Yards and everything. We'll see what this weekend unfolds. Follow me, and I'll see you next time here in the Ravens Rundown. Have a great weekend. Thanks for joining us.